a lot of those things do.
It sure can.
Let me run through some questions and then anything you want to add. And if there's any of these you don't want to answer, feel free to. There's nothing that's ultra controversial or anything. What made you first decide to mix black music, the black rhythm, soul music, whatever you may call it, of the 50s with country songs?
Well, I guess the truest answer I can give you on that, Bob, is I grew up in the cotton fields of West Tennessee.
Right.
And I remember there was 4 white people on that plantation. My mom and dad, well, there was 5. I left myself out. My mom and dad, my 2 brothers and myself. And I listened to the black people sing, you know, in the cotton fields in the afternoon. And the rhythm they had, that spiritual feel, it just graduated into my soul, I guess. I loved country music. My dad, we didn't have electricity back then. We had just a packed battery for the radio, and my dad didn't allow anything to be on but country music and the news. So I listened to the Grand Ole Opry on Saturday night, but I even as a youngster, I like to speed the music up, you know, and I remember I did things like Walking the Floor Over You by Ernest Tubb, but I did them with that, oh, I'm walking the floor over you, you know, with a
little movement in
yeah, that's right, and it actually came out of those cotton fields in West Tennessee.
Cotton fields in West Tennessee.
Yeah.
Is it true that you in the early days sounded just like Elvis, although at the time you had never met him or never heard him sing?
That's right. You know, when I say we, I'm talking about the group at Sun Records, Jerry Lee Lewis, Elvis, Charlie Rich. None of us copied each other, and we were not the only guys who were singing that type of music. We were, shall we say, lucky enough to be the ones who got to record it. But there, in that part of the country, that music was really catching on. A lot of white guys were singing this type of music. We just happened to be the ones to get to record it.
One little side step. I've known Judge Phillips, Sam's brother, many years. I've sitting out to the banner for 10 years, managing editor for 7, executive for 3. And up at the old studios there behind the War Memorial Building, Charlie Rich would record 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. Judd and I'd sit and drink and listen. So I go back to listening to a lot of that too. I just want to let you know that I've been a fan of yours and theirs and everybody else's for many years.
Appreciate it.
But these questions are some that I wanted to get some specific answers from you on, although a lot of them I know the answers to.
Yeah. Well, you know that I'm truthful, that we just were the ones to get to record it. We wasn't the only ones doing it, no.
But you were there at the right time with the right rhythm and the right sound that the people wanted to hear, and it went, didn't it?
And we were lucky enough to have a man named Sam Phillips who recognized, I guess, the need for that kind of music on records, and he staked everything he ever had or would ever have in that little record company, and the man, in a way, I think, was a genius. I really think he was a musical genius.
How did you come about meeting Sam and recording for him?
Well,
I've read a lot and I know the answer, but I'd like to have it come in your words.
Bob, I was living in a government project house down in Jackson, Tennessee at that time, and I heard Blue Moon of Kentucky by Elvis. Yeah, it was Elvis's first record. And I never will forget how it really gave me an uplift. You know, I'd sent tapes and tried to get on every record label I could get the address of, and I remember when I heard Elvis's record, I said, "Uh-oh, you know, somebody is doing what I've been doing for all these years." So we when I say we, my two brothers and the boy that plays drums with Johnny Cash now, W.S. Holland, we went down to Memphis and to the Sun Record Company, and I was turned down by the secretary. She said we're so busy with our new boy Elvis, he won't listen. Sam was not there at that time, and we was about to leave and go back to Jackson, and he pulled up, and I said, boys, that's got to be him, because I never will forget. It was a '54 Coupe de Ville, new Cadillac, and sharp-looking little dude got out. And I said, that's got to be the man that owns this place, and it turned out to be. I met him in front of the building, and I said, Mr. Phillips, I don't imitate your new boy Elvis. I sing the same type of thing, and I sure would appreciate if you'd listen. And he told me after then, Bob, he said, I had no intentions of listening to anybody, but you look like your world would have ended if I never saw a pitiful face.
You put on a good front.
Well,
one out.
I didn't mean it as a front. I was really
sincere.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, great. Did Sun use any unique musical sound situations in recording you during those first years?
No.
It was just basically what you did itself.
That's it. I played my own lead guitar, which back then was a little unusual.
Right.
Very few, of course, nowadays. There's quite a few do, but I don't know. I guess, one of the first to play his own lead and sing. And of course, I
think it's an advantage, personally.
Well, yeah, I do. I've always felt that way.
But as far as audience reaction to it, because you're doing two things,
that's right,
and all eyes are on you instead
that's
of being
right.
on one here
that's
and,
right.
and the other
that's
there.
Right. Yeah, you're right. And when the singer gets through with his verse, or if he don't play his own lead, the eyes,
that's right.
The focus goes
right.
to a band member, where the spotlight stays on the singer if he does his own playing. But there was really no techniques used. I mean, we just played, and we had two microphones and a little 2-track tape recorder. That's all he had.
I wonder, why do you think Sam would sell Elvis? Was it to raise enough capital? I know $40,000 was a lot at that
Right.
time. To put emphasis on you and Charlie and Jerry Lee and Johnny and the others?
Yeah, I think
this was an offer. Nobody was offered to buy you all. They were buying this one, and he
That's
thought,
right.
well, I can take that and
That's
do
right.
something with the rest of my stable of stars.
That's right. At that time, Bob, 40,000, man, was a lot of money, and you're right. Probably, without a doubt, that's the reason that he sold Elvis. I mean, that much money, and Sam probably felt that he had other talents, like Lewis and Rich, Cash, and that if he had that kind of money to exploit these people and get his label known, I'm sure he looked back later and said, I might have done the wrong thing. But for him, at that time, I think it was probably the right thing. It really was.
How did the wreck set back your career? I know you just appeared on nationwide television as the first rock country artist, if I remember correctly, that to appear and receive your gold record as such. And then you had your wreck the next day, I believe it was. How did all of this wreck, how did all this set back your career or affect your career?
Well, really, Bob, I don't guess I have the answer. Probably there. It's one of those things that nobody will ever know. I felt that there was a reason. Maybe someday I'll know. Now I don't. I'm 46 now, and I've thought about it many times, why this had to happen at that time. I guess the only thing I've ever been able to console myself with is that I believe in the divine, and I think
right.
that and the plan that He has for my life. Maybe I wasn't ready for it. I know it's worked out awfully well.
I know that it has. I realize
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And it's still working great now. And I don't want to be leading you, and I don't want to ask you something that sounds like it's leading. It's not. Do you feel that had you not had the wreck, that you and Elvis might have been on a close plane to each other out there in your performance situations?
Well, that's possible.
Because you both were climbing,
Yeah.
and you had already proven yourself. It wasn't as if you hadn't proven yourself.
Yeah. That's a possibility.
Kind of
It
a
could
parallel,
happen.
like might have been. Not saying one was over the other, whatever, but both of them would be rising at the same time with a type
Yeah.
music that was
Yeah.
catching on, and with the people in the forefront.
I don't think, Bob, that my career would have in any way interfered with Elvis. I think Elvis had more than just talent. I'm not taking the talent away from the man. He certainly had that, but Elvis had appeal. He had Elvis was one of those unique people who he could have just walked out on a stage alone,
Personality would.
Yeah, and there was a magic. There was something about the way he looked. I knew that the first time I saw the boy in 1954, and working those gymnasiums and those high school stages around Mississippi and West Tennessee and Arkansas back in the year of '55. We worked together, well, practically all the
My
time.
next question: did you ever play any shows or record any with Elvis?
Oh yeah. Well, I never recorded
But
with
you
him.
played show dates.
Oh yeah. We had the same manager back then, and I used to stand on the side of the stage, and I wondered, what am I going to do? How am I going to hold my own on the stage with a guy who can just walk out and flick a finger or move a knee and they just get a reaction from the audience? And I knew, even before the world knew Elvis, that here was really a unique man, a fellow who had just a lot more than talent. He had a look, he had a charisma about him, and he had it when he started. He really did.
What was the significance? I'll get off of Elvis now. What was the significance of Elvis sending a plastic willow tree with 12 redbirds whenever there was a death in his family? Do you know?
Well, I don't know. The weeping willow was Prester's favorite tree, and he would always send those when I have 3 of those in my home today.
When members of the family would
Right.
there'd be death in the family.
Yeah, when I lost my 2 brothers and my dad 4 years ago, and it was always 12 was his lucky number. He thought he believed in numbers, and I guess the redbird was his favorite bird. And,
Must have been.
Yeah.
What is your career like now?
Well, very exciting, Bob. It really is. See, I have 2 of my sons working with
Right.
me, and I don't know, at my age, to be out there on the stage again and playing the kind of music that I love to play, and it's a big part of my life. It's always been a big part of me, and to be able to play my music to a mixed audience. By that I mean people come who are my age, who remember Blue Suede Shoes, and then we get some young people as well. I think it's
Tell me about your boys.
well, they're pretty good old country fellas. They really are. The oldest one is 24. He plays drums. His name is Stan. And the youngest boy, Greg, is 20, plays electric bass. Of course, Greg plays guitar and piano, but he plays bass on the stage with me.
Do they sing with you too?
Sing kind of backup stand.
Yeah.
Mhm. But they're beginning to write and sing together. I hope maybe that just around the corner, maybe they'll start recording. I
That's
think
great.
they will. They're writing some I think some really good stuff.
Are you using some of the material on your shows along to work it in to
Well,
get the reaction of the audiences or anything?
every once in a while we do. I kind of leave it up, to them. Some nights they're like me, they're nervous and scared, so I don't try it. But if the situation is there,
Warrants it, then you
once
do.
in a while, yeah, they'll do one.
Did you learn anything working all those years with Johnny Cash?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I learned a lot from John. John is one of the greatest human beings I've ever known. Of all the people at Sun Records back in the early 50s when we were all there, Cash and I guess, were the closest. I was closer to John than, say, Elvis or Charlie Rich or Lewis. I didn't know Cash till we started at Sun Records, but it didn't take long for me to really love this man. He grew up, the Mississippi River just divided us. He grew up in Arkansas and I in West Tennessee, and his life was so much like mine. He was a sharecropper's son, and he picked that cotton, and we hit it off from the very beginning, and we've been the closest of friends. And the 10 years I traveled with John, oh yeah, I learned a lot. I
Things that you think you can take out on your own now, and
oh yeah, no question.
from a
about it.
showmanship standpoint or whatever.
Yeah, I saw John in situations where I've stood behind him when he played for kings, queens, presidents, places like the White House, and I've talked to him before the shows. He'd be nervous, The weight was on his shoulders and not mine, and so I could say, "Don't worry about it, John. He asked you to come here and sing for him, and we'll do it. Don't worry about it." I'm getting a little taste of that now, and that
Beautiful.
situation, the experience I had with John, is no question about it. It's very beneficial. Now I talk to myself and say, "You remember, you told John not to worry about it, so don't you?"
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. How have you changed as Carl Perkins from the time of the mid-50s to the Carl Perkins of today? Musically, I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, your life and such, but musically.
Well, I don't really think there's been that much change, Bob. Not really.
You still like a basic
Oh yeah.
type of music that you were
Right.
doing then, and still like it now,
I
and still put it
still-
into your records and on
Right.
your shows.
Right, same type of thing. I'm so limited as a musician or as a entertainer that what I do now is what I did back then. It's basically the same thing. Yeah.
Do you ever feel that at one point in your life you were jinxed, like you had the wreck, and,
Oh, yeah.
and then the shotgun blasted your foot?
Yeah. Yeah, there's no doubt about that. I used to look up, and I think the first time I heard Chris Gustafson, "Why Me, Lord," I
You thought about it?
Yeah, because I had that run through my mind many, many times in my life. But I don't know.
It's all worked out for the best. apparently.
Well, really, it was I like to look back at it and think it was a slowing down process. It was something the big man was saying, "Now hold on, son. I'm gonna clip that wing. You're trying to fly." And
What about the tapes that are involved in the court situation? Now, if you win that, I think you said you're going to give money to the poor kids around the country. Is that still your thought?
Oh, yeah.
If that comes out that way.
Yep, definitely.
The idea is a principle with you, and the principle of the thing, the tapes belong to you and not for somebody to be thrown out here, there, and everywhere to profit by them. But if there's a profit to be made, that should be you. In your case, you don't want the financial end. You want to give it to the kids because of a principle involved.
That's right. See, in the first place, Bob, these tapes are really of no value if Elvis wasn't on them. Well, let me kind of reduce that statement to this. He is the principal reason that they're of value. And I didn't base my future. I know there's a lot of money with this album. There's no question about it. It's probably will be one of the biggest things that's ever released because it's the last thing that there is of Elvis. There's no more. I understand through my producer now, Felton Jarvis, that there's nothing left in the can on Elvis. So this thing will be very valuable. And as I started to say, I hadn't based my life on having the money or the fame that will come from this tape. So the man is gone, and to me, I feel, and I hear him constantly saying to me, Carl, win it, do some good with it. And that's what I want to do.
You mean, you seem like you hear Elvis saying that to you, win it and do some good with the money.
That's right, that's right. He said, that's what I would do if I was alive. We didn't cut it as a record. We didn't know it was being done. So
both of you would like to have some good done with it.
That's it.
How is Felton Jarvis as a producer?
Great. Absolutely one of the finest human beings I've ever known. And as a producer, I think he's, he's just, I think the word great sums him up.
Carl, what are your goals from here now?
Well, Bob, I like to write. I constantly do. A lot of it I consider junk, but I'd like to write songs that when I'm gone, people can say, "Man, he said something to me in that song." And if I'm going to be remembered for anything I've ever done in the music business, I would like to write more songs like Daddy Sang Bass. I think this is the type of thing the world needs. Something for that mom and dad and the kids all can enjoy. It can have a beat to it. It can be called rock or whatever, but it can still, give a good message. And that's the type of thing I'd like to do.
Do you have in mind that at some point you'd like to do some TV work, or does that enter your mind much more than the recording, performing end of it?
Well, yeah, I like television.
Well, I just wondered, so many country music syndicated shows originate from here. Mm-hmm. Marty Robbins' show, Ralph Emery's program. I just wondered if you thought of approaching any of the, your management approaching any of the people about the possibility. I think it'd be a different and great show, personally.
Well, thank you. I've had and still have. I've got notions about it. I would like to try. I'd like to try to do it. I really would.
I believe it would go over terrific. I really would.
If I could do, a lot of the television shows, or most of them that I've been associated with or on at different times in my life, they seem to be run from the back room, and the guy that's doing that the show's named after very seldom gets. He just don't get a lot of input. It's
the
written
Cash
down.
situation, I think, was what that
That's
ABC
right.
Cash.
Yeah.
I know that was the thing. I think
That's right.
hurt him worse than anything else personally.
That's right.
From what everything I could
See, I sat back there and saw a man, his lines being written for him. I think really that if an artist could do it the way he wants to do it, I think the public's ready for that raw mistake that he might make.
That type of a show where the artist does his own talking and his own ideas, and he selects the songs that go into it rather than some producer from L.A. saying he's going to do this song for whatever the reason might be.
That's right. I definitely feel that it has a chance to succeed if an artist can just be himself and put his words down, and rather than somebody writing them for him.
How many songs have you written all told?
Gosh, I don't know. I've got down the street here at Cedarwood, I've got about over 400. Yeah, I guess maybe 1,000 something.
You do all right from royalties alone when you consider all of that.
Well, now all of them are they're just a handful. That's,
Oh, I understand that, but I mean, you still got the biggest.
Well, I've been very fortunate, Bob.
That's great.
I really have, and let me say now, man, I'm the first to know that, and I'm very, very thankful for it. I really am, because it's those people out there that's done it. It hadn't been me.
Right. Well, it's a combination of everything. If you didn't have the talent to be able to produce it, they certainly wouldn't show the appreciation. Now, is there anything I have not asked you that you would like from having my story?
Well,
Or if there's anything I have asked you that you'd rather I would not have in the story?
no.
Because I'm
No,
not
that's
one
right.
that, listen, I've been in business a long time. I hope to live here all my life, and I don't want to write something that's going to be detrimental. And if I've asked
No.
anything that you don't want in, I don't want to put it in.
No,
Because
I don't.
I want you as a friend.
Well, appreciate that. I never deny. In fact, I take the opportunity when it arises to say that I am a Shriner, and I'm proud of that.
Beautiful.
I like what we as brothers in Masonry stand for, and you can't shout it from the back of a microphone with a spotlight on you, but I try to let people know that I am, and I'm not ashamed of
That's
that.
right.
I think we represent greatness in this world.
Sure do.
I really do.
Have you a picture anywhere of you and your kids performing? Your boys? That you could drop in the mail to me
yeah.
that I might be
Yeah.
able to use for my story.
Sure. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And also, send me a recipe or two.
A recipe.
See, I'm continuing doing that country cooking column, and
Yeah.
and it gives me the second chance to
All right.
give a good plug.
Okay.
Whatever it might be, it'll make a big difference in the world. Just a couple of free recipes.
I've got a good one that put the meat on my bones right after I left the breast, and it's called water and flour. It's gravy.
Beautiful.
And that's about all it takes.
Send me anything you got. That would be quite helpful. Did you think of anything? Could you hear my questions that I need to ask him that you think would be instrumental, helpful in his career, anywhere to be in the magazine?
I think you covered most of the points.
I think it's pretty full. One other point, I'm sure all of you do. Whenever you hear Elvis's music, do you think back? Well, I can think back to the time that all of us were good buddies together and we'd sing together, do things like that.
Oh yeah.
It brings back memories still, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But then, do you think that by the same token, since Elvis is gone and each of the others have gone their respective ways, that all of them pulling together would like to see you now come back and move right ahead and have the career that you really should have had back at the time of the wreck?
Man, I could stand to hear you say that again. That's beautiful. I hope they feel that way. Maybe they do. I really hope so.
You all were good buddies, all of you.
Yeah, we really were. We were poor people, really. We didn't. Most of us. I remember Elvis had a '49 Ford. Paid $5 a week to a car dealer in West Memphis when I first met him.
Oh boy.
And there were times on Friday night that we looked at that door and that crowd from behind that little curtain in Bono, Arkansas, or wherever we were, and wondered, would he have enough left after he bought gas and cheeseburgers?
To get back
on the way?
home.
Yeah, could he pay that note on Saturday? So I think being poor does, and it's been said, but I think it's true. It does bring you close together. And I do miss him, and I think the whole world is, those who didn't believe when he was here, I think are realizing now that he really meant something.
Don't you think the time is right for your kind of music to come back?
Well, I hope so, Bob. I I think it really has never left. It
You
got
go in a
dressed,
cycle like.
it got
and
dressed up,
It got dressed up. That's
but
right.
that beat really has never left. And maybe now the kids are wanting to simplify it back to where it was.
The new album's beautiful.
Well, thank you.
It's beautiful.
Gosh, I appreciate it. Thank you. We've cut another one.
Oh, you have? When's it
since
coming out?
then. They're going to release it in January over in England, and
Good.
so it'll probably be out here.
Is it on
right
Jet?
after the first, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And what's it entitled?
Well,
Do you know
right
yet?
now it's called "And the Beat Goes On."
And the beat goes on.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Very good. And you have some of your material from
I've got
through the
5
years in it, and some new songs.
All of it's new stuff.
Oh, it's new.
Yeah,
Good. I thought
yeah.
maybe you'd interwoven some old with the new, but it's all new.
Well,
Great.
Yeah, they're there's 7 new songs. 5 of the songs that I wrote, and then there's 3 old country standards that I've done through the years, done them my way. One is "Good Night, Irene." Remember that?
Boy, have I gotten drunk to that.
And a thing that Carl Smith had, it's been one of my favorite songs for many years, "Let Old Mother Nature Have Her Way." But we put the old
Good.
beat to it. It sounds like a new song, or an old one done bad.
That's terrific.